The man had already regained his ability to move, but his mother insisted that he continue to sit in a wheelchair and pretend to be paralyzed. She told him to wait until tomorrow's wedding to stand up, because she wanted to test his future daughter-in-law's character. She wanted to see if the daughter-in-law would reject him for being paralyzed. If she didn't, only then would his mother entrust him with the family's trillion-dollar assets. However, when the man returned to his rental apartment, he accidentally found out that his girlfriend was having an affair with his old classmate. The old classmate was advising the girlfriend to poison the man and kill him. It turned out that 2 days ago, when the old classmate went abroad with his wife, he had pushed her into the sea, causing her to drown. Upon hearing their malicious words, the man initially wanted to stand up and expose them, but after remembering his mother's warning, he decided to give up on that idea. He planned to get revenge on his girlfriend at tomorrow's wedding. While sitting in his wheelchair on the street, he suddenly saw a girl's bag being snatched by a thief, but no one around seemed to want to help. The man, disregarding the need to hide his disability, chased after the thief. He successfully retrieved the bag and returned it to the girl. The girl was extremely grateful for the man's help. When she heard that he was planning to take revenge on his girlfriend tomorrow, the girl declared that she wanted to marry him. The man thought she was just joking. At the wedding the next day, the man took the microphone and started by talking about the car accident 3 years ago, when he had been paralyzed while saving his girlfriend. Although his girlfriend had been with him for 3 years, he decided to abandon her today. Everyone in the room was stunned. They couldn't believe that a paralyzed man would reject his young and beautiful girlfriend. The girlfriend was furious, claiming that she had been wanting to leave him for a long time. She added that she wasn't marrying him, but was instead marrying his old classmate. As soon as she finished speaking, the old classmate walked into the wedding venue. With his connections to a large conglomerate and billions of dollars in assets, he looked down on the man, who had once been his close friend. Even the girlfriend felt they were now worlds apart. The man was enraged by this, but the old classmate arrogantly said he would give the man $100,000 to get him to leave. Unaware that the man wasn't in need of money, the man immediately demanded that the old classmate kneel down and insult himself in front of everyone. The old classmate, furious, almost tried to attack the man on the spot. To show off his power, the old classmate tried to rally the crowd by offering a red envelope worth $10,000, hoping to win their support for the girlfriend to marry him. The crowd eagerly raised their hands in agreement. At this point, the girlfriend's mother also began to humiliate the man, saying that he was abandoned because his parents were poor and lacked status. The man retorted, saying that his parents' status and wealth were far beyond what everyone in the room could imagine. However, the crowd thought he was just bragging. The girlfriend, unable to stand the man's hypocrisy any longer, threw a divorce agreement at him, demanding he sign it. The man immediately tore up the agreement, stating that today wasn't about divorce, but rather about him abandoning her, because he was about to marry his fiancée. The girlfriend couldn't believe that a paralyzed man could have another woman willing to marry him. She thought he was just talking nonsense. She ordered him to leave, claiming she was going to marry the old classmate. A fierce argument broke out between them, and the old classmate ordered his men to carry the man out. The guests shouted at the man to get out, as the girlfriend felt triumphant. Suddenly, the young heiress of the Shin Group appeared in a wedding dress. She walked up to the man and proposed, until the man, paralyzed for 3 years, stood up from his wheelchair. The wedding guests were utterly shocked. The girlfriend was even more incredulous upon witnessing the scene. An old classmate insisted he must be faking his recovery and demanded he take a few steps to prove he was no longer disabled. The man not only walked normally but also kicked the wheelchair aside. As everyone wondered why he had pretended to be disabled, the old classmate accused him of faking his injury to win his girlfriend's sympathy. The girlfriend believed the old classmate's claims, convinced that the man had deceived her for 3 years by pretending to be disabled. She demanded $1 million as compensation for her wasted youth, threatening to expose his hypocrisy if he refused. To get back at his girlfriend for cheating on him with his old classmate, the man revealed he had spent $31 million at a royal hospital 3 years ago for treatment. He explained that he had been injured while saving her. Now, he demanded she reimburse him for the medical expenses. However, no one believed the man's story, because the royal hospital only accepts rich and powerful people and officials. A poor man like a man can't be admitted to the royal hospital. The girlfriend immediately called the police, claiming the man not only faked his disability to marry her but also forged invoices to extort her. The old classmate encouraged the guests to capture the man on the spot, but at the critical moment, a woman claiming to be the Shin family heiress stepped in to defend the man. She claims to be a man's fiancée. No one at the scene recognized her and assumed she was colluding with the man. Suddenly, a young man declared that his father was an executive at the Shin Group. He called to confirm and learned that the Shin heiress had no boyfriend and couldn't possibly be at a wedding. He publicly exposed the woman's claim as false. However, the woman remained calm, asking for the young man's father's name. She immediately called the company to have his father fired. The young man, initially arrogant, received confirmation of his father's dismissal moments later. Terrified, he dropped to his knees, begging the Shin heiress to reinstate his father's position, as their family's livelihood depended solely on his father's income. Seeing that the Shin heiress ignored him, he turned to the old classmate for help. The old classmate assured him not to panic, suggesting they were simply acting and the police would expose their lies. When the police arrived, they accused the man of using low-level tricks, insisting the $31 million medical bill must be fake, as only the rich could afford treatment at the royal hospital. The man then revealed his mother was the world's richest woman. The girlfriend and old classmate burst into laughter, mocking him, saying if his mother were the richest woman, then she must be the richest in the universe. Even the police were eager to examine the invoices, expecting to uncover a significant fraud case. To their surprise, every invoice bore the Royal Hospital's official seal. Everyone realized the invoices were genuine, but they struggled to believe a supposedly poor man had spent $31 million on treatment. The girlfriend questioned why he needed such an expensive hospital for minor injuries. Unbeknownst to her, the man had downplayed his injuries to prevent her from worrying, asking his mother to tell her it was just a minor injury. The girlfriend went over the treatment list herself. She discovered the man had been severely injured, resulting in total paralysis. Now standing as if nothing had happened, he still failed to convince everyone. The girlfriend insisted he was lying. Even the heiress was curious about the truth. The man then called his sister, asking her to bring the Royal Hospital's director to the wedding venue. He promised that once the director arrived, everyone would learn whether he was. The man called the director of the Royal Hospital to the wedding scene to prove the fact that he spent $35 million on medical treatment. But after waiting for a long time, the director still hadn't arrived. His girlfriend believed the man was a fraud and demanded the police arrest him immediately. Just then, the director arrived on time. Everyone was shocked to recognize him as the director of the Royal Hospital. Upon learning the man had been slandered, the director immediately took out the invoice for the man's treatment from 3 years ago. It clearly showed the Royal Hospital stamp, confirming it was authentic. The girlfriend still couldn't believe it. She thought the director was just another fraud hired by the man. After all, she had been with the man for 3 years and knew he was just a poor guy. The director said that although he didn't know the man's true identity, he did know that the man's older sister was a national female general, his second sister was a Hollywood movie star, and his third sister was a stock market guru in the finance world. The girlfriend was even more convinced the director was a fraud because she was very familiar with the man's 3 sisters. She claimed that the oldest sister was 30 and still unmarried, so she must not have good conditions, and their family only had 2 bedrooms. 3 sisters coming home at the same time couldn't even fit. Seeing the crowd mocking the man's face, the man claimed that his mother's status was even more impressive, and if he revealed it, it would probably scare them all to death. The girlfriend's mother immediately retorted, mocking, "Is your mother the world's richest person?" The man said his mother was indeed the world's richest person. Everyone there thought the man was talking nonsense. No one believed that his mother was the world's richest person, except for the director of the Royal Hospital, who believed him. But the girlfriend said they were all in it together. Seeing that everyone was still doubting the man's identity, the director advised the man that he didn't need to associate with these lower-class people and endure their insults. The man says he's going to cut ties with these people, then marry the Shin family's daughter as his wife. However, the father strongly opposed their relationship because he always believed the man was poor and was not worthy of his daughter. The man immediately picked up his phone and called his mother, asking her to come to the wedding scene as soon as possible. When the girlfriend heard the man say his mother's helicopter was about to land, she couldn't help but laugh. The girlfriend's mother also criticized the man, calling him a liar, and praised her daughter for making the right choice in dumping him. The girlfriend also thought marrying her old classmate was the right choice, to deliberately provoke the man. They even started showing affection right in front of him. The man, deeply humiliated, became very angry. He wrote the character 4 renounce on his secretary's back, preparing to divorce his girlfriend. The girlfriend's mother thought the man was pulling another scam, and urged the police to arrest him. The police asked the director to show his ID to verify his identity. When he saw the details on the ID, he was shocked and trembling. After confirming the Royal Hospital director's identity, the police quickly left the wedding scene. At this sight, the girlfriend couldn't believe it. She thought the man was just a fraud she had abandoned. How could he possibly have anything to do with the director of the Royal Hospital? However, the director explained that it was actually him who had climbed up to the man's level. But the old classmate still didn't believe the man was the son of a billionaire. After all, they had once been classmates. He knew very well that after the man's father passed away, the man's mother had worked as a sanitation worker in the city to raise him and his 3 sisters, so he couldn't believe the man had such a powerful background. The girlfriend suspected that the Royal Hospital director's ID might also be forged, and that their goal was to con people together. The old classmate threatened the man to admit he was a fraud, or else he would make sure the man's mother lost her sanitation job. At a critical moment, the man's mother, dressed in a sanitation worker's uniform, walked over and demanded to know who was trying to get her fired to come to the wedding to testify. When she saw her walking in dressed as a janitor, the girlfriend immediately mocked the mother and son as a pair of frauds. Unbeknownst to her, the woman's true identity was that of a chairwoman with trillions of dollars in assets. Upon learning that her son had been abandoned by his girlfriend, she gave the girlfriend and her mother a severe scolding. Then she accepted Shin's daughter as her daughter-in-law. However, Miss Shin's father refused to consent. He thought the janitor's son was unworthy to marry his daughter, but his daughter insisted on marrying the man. This made him furious. An old classmate standing by suggested something. He claimed that Miss Shin, being so beautiful, shouldn't marry the poor boy, as it would be a waste, and planned to marry Miss Shin himself. The girlfriend's mother immediately scolded him as a scumbag. After all, her daughter had betrayed the man just to be with him. The old classmate classmate didn't care at all, claiming that Miss Shin, both in looks and family background, was superior to the girlfriend. So he changed his mind and wanted to marry Miss Shin instead. Miss Shin's father, considering the old classmate's connection to the richest group, and that the marriage could benefit the Shin family, agreed to give his daughter to the old classmate. The man could no longer tolerate the old classmate's despicable actions. He ordered his mother to bankrupt the old classmate's family immediately. The chairwoman immediately called her assistant to blacklist the old classmate. But the old classmate wasn't worried in the slightest. He thought the woman was just putting on an act. Others also began to question the woman's identity, saying that the world's richest person couldn't possibly wear a janitor's uniform. Little did they know, the chairwoman was usually very low-key. She enjoyed pretending to be an ordinary janitor to experience life. Although everyone looked down on her, Miss Shin didn't mind that the woman was a janitor. Even though the man had nothing, she still wanted to marry him. Upon hearing this, the chairwoman was very happy. She immediately instructed someone to bring out a limited edition starry diamond ring, and decided to give it to Miss Shin. Upon hearing this, everyone mocked her again. After all, the ring was worth $10 billion. They laughed at her, couldn't even distinguish 10 billion. She ignored them, and opened the box containing the $10 billion starry diamond ring. This only led to more ridicule, as the diamond was dull and lifeless. Miss Shin felt awkward at the sight, and began to question if her mother-in-law was lying. Although she had never seen a starry diamond ring, she knew that diamonds were supposed to be incredibly brilliant. Seeing the disbelief on her future daughter-in-law's face, the chairwoman calmly blew on the diamond, instantly making the previously dull stone shine with dazzling light. At this sight, everyone was stunned. Then the man placed the diamond ring on Miss Shin's finger. Some guests were envious, while others were still skeptical. The skeptics still thought she was deceiving everyone with a fake ring. After all, no one had ever seen a real starry diamond ring. The old classmate arrogantly said that she was a fraud. He mentioned how the woman had just tried to blacklist him, yet he still hadn't gone bankrupt. But just then, a call came in. Until the old classmate has been blacklisted by the consortium, he still couldn't believe that the woman in front of him was the world's richest person. The girlfriend, seeing the woman dressed in a janitor's uniform, was convinced that the woman was pretending to be the world's richest person, to expose the woman in front of everyone. The old classmate remembered the consortium executive who had been supporting him from behind, so he called the executive for advice. The executive told him that the richest woman is currently abroad, and that the consortium had not received any orders to blacklist him. He was extremely pleased with this news, and arrogantly said that the executive would personally come to expose the woman later. Just as everyone was gossiping and accusing the woman, the consortium's executive arrived, flanked by bodyguards. Seeing this, the old classmate immediately stepped forward to greet them, accusing the woman of impersonating the world's richest person, and demanding that the executive quickly arrest this fraud. To his surprise, the executive slapped him across the face, angrily rebuking him for daring to offend the chairman of the group. The executive told everyone that the chairman was a globally renowned female entrepreneur, the world's richest person, worth trillions, and the most low-key billionaire. The old classmate realized he had offended a big shot, immediately kneeling on the ground and begging the woman to spare him. However, his despicable actions enraged everyone. The chairman once ordered the executive to support him in becoming a billionaire, out of kindness because he was her son's classmate, but he had the audacity to steal his son's girlfriend at the wedding. To take revenge on the old classmate, the man decided to make him experience the feeling of sitting in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. Upon hearing this, the old classmate was terrified, and begged the man for mercy while kneeling before him. The man showed no mercy, and ordered the bodyguards to beat him, so he would spend the rest of his life in a wheelchair. To further take revenge, the man decided to immediately marry his ex-girlfriend to the old classmate. The ex-girlfriend's mother hurriedly explained, claiming that everything had been a misunderstanding, and that the ex-girlfriend was the man's first love, hoping that they would continue with the wedding. The ex-girlfriend quickly apologized to the man, begging to marry him, but the man felt she no longer deserved him. After the bodyguards dragged the disabled old classmate out of the wedding venue, the man put the note he had written earlier, announcing his breakup with the ex-girlfriend, on her. He made it clear that he had abandoned her of his own accord. He would not only make the mother and daughter repay the $30 million they owed him, but also make them beg on the streets in the future. Once everything was settled, the man planned to marry Miss Shin. Before that, the chairman had transferred the group to her according to family tradition, because the woman was originally weak and needed to master wealth. The condition was that she had passed the examination. Miss Shin had never looked down on the man for his disability, and was willing to marry him no matter what. This was recognized by both the man and the chairman. But Miss Shin's parents and relatives were all snobbish, and had sided with the old classmate and ex-girlfriend earlier. After learning about the man and chairman's identities, they changed their attitude. However, the chairman firmly refused to let them attend the wedding. In the end, after Miss Shin begged, the chairman allowed them to attend the wedding, considering they were her parents. Just as the wedding was about to begin, the old classmate's father barged in with people, seeking revenge for his son's broken leg. Fiancé. The father of an old classmate suddenly arrived with mercenaries to stop them. The company's executive intended to drive these troublemakers away, but he was knocked to the ground by the mercenaries. Seeing this, The chairman was furious and embarrassed, scolding them for daring to act so recklessly and violently. Little did they know, the old classmate's father was a fugitive who had escaped from prison, and he was here today to avenge his son, whose legs had been broken, and to make everyone present pay a painful price. The fiancé's parents quickly distanced themselves from the situation, but the old classmate knew that the Shin family had already arranged a marriage with the man, and out of revenge, he decided to take Miss Shin for himself, demanding that Miss Shin spend the rest of her life taking care of him. The man immediately stepped in front of her, and the old classmate, seeing this, threatened to break the man's legs, making him spend the rest of his life in a wheelchair, just like him. The bodyguards stepped forward to protect him, but were easily knocked down by the mercenaries. Seeing this scene, the old classmate became even more arrogant, declaring that he wanted to marry Miss Shin immediately. The man tried to stop him but was no match for the mercenaries, and was mocked by the old classmate, saying that the man couldn't even protect his fiancée. Today, he would make the man watch him marry Miss Shin. The chairman could no longer bear it, threatening them to release her daughter-in-law immediately, but the old classmate's father refused. He then forced Miss Shin to marry his son. Suddenly, the chairman's eldest daughter arrived just in time, having served in the military for 10 years with a distinguished record, and now she was one of the world's top warriors. She arrived with her subordinates to attend her brother's wedding, but unexpectedly, she encountered the escaped fugitive. She immediately ordered the escaped fugitive to drop his gun and surrender, but he did not compromise.